Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. That's what we've got right here. This is Doc from North America. Another fun-filled Monday. TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. All right. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. Here's J4X. And you can see here Swiss, kind of sideways, just down a little bit, nothing major. The Hinky Ashies are advancing still. Where's the, there it is right there. There's the line. You can see it's kind of topped out. And here, same thing with ours over on Chicago Quant. They're starting to back off. There's I don't know, let me think, how did it play out on Friday? I'm trying to think now. And the end result is that they bought the dollar. They've been buying the dollar for a couple of days, and you can see here Swiss is in a daily buy now for 3 full days, and even now holding up still there. The weekly is in a sell, so it's stuck in some type of neutral thing. They're playing with the top end of the range, which surprised us because we kept on thinking that we're going to come down to the bottom end of this range, and that range we've been following for over a year and a half now. So, the concern, I guess, more than anything else, is that they don't know where to go, when to go, and how to do it. That's what it seems like to me. We're looking at inflation here, and we're not seeing any real clear message. The polls are dropping dramatically for the administration. We're seeing just all kinds of interesting things. Good, I can hear the volume there. Excellent. So here we are, and that's the Swiss saying basically is that the dollar is firm overall for the last 4 days and not giving up too quickly. And we'll see how that plays out if they actually go after the top end of the range again, which would be, like I said, it was a real surprise there. And the way the dollar has been is that they've been, I guess it's a flight to safety concern. I don't know. It's a combination of all. If nothing else, the dollar is paying something on its bonds. So in other words, when you buy dollars and you put it into, some type of interest-bearing product, it actually pays you. Whereas pretty much across the planet, it's minus. Which, wow, what does that say about the world? The quality. I guess we always say it here, we're the cleanest of all the dirty shirts in the laundry. So in other words, as bad as we are, everybody else is worse. It's so hard to believe, But it is. It seems like that's the fact of life. So, as you can see right there, dollar kind of firm, just kind of sideways, and today just a little leaky, maybe. A little leaky, All right, let's jump over to the Swiss. I'm sorry, not the Swiss, the euro. Let's take a look at the euro. Right there. You can see it is trying to move up a little bit against the dollar also. It's doing this little bottoming thing right there. Let's check it out over on the Chicago Quant. And there, I guess it's, let's see, what's widen that? Because it looks like it's gaining a little bit against the dollar. Yeah. You can see the daily is trying to lift up. We got a red and a green right there at the moment. Let's take that Bollinger Band that we follow for, I forget who it was that was watching it, but it's always fascinating to see how it acts compared to, our work, which is much more precise. Let's see, that makes it thinner. There you go. So you can see there a red and a green. You can see here we're lifting up, bouncing, not into the buy yet, and you can see on a weekly basis the euro has been in a sell for a bunch of weeks now, going back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going on an 8th week since the $17 area, 117 area, and that's where it confirmed the sell. And it goes down to it, challenges it, goes down to it, and this dotted line here is the bottom end of the range, which is now, scratch your head situation. This is another one of those ranges that was lasting for over a year and a half, and now it's starting to evaporate, I guess you could say, or they're trying to reestablish a new range. With the central banks, the way they work, and they stay inside a particular trading range so that they're not considered manipulating. We see this. We find it unique, of course, but we do see it. And I'm not really sure if there's anything that can be said about the fact that they've, what is it, you can see how far off the range now it's starting to get to. After, I don't know, a year and a half, played that range. Just, you can see there, it started developing that range, I guess it was back in July of 2020. So, and it stayed in that range for a long while, and now we've gone down to the bottom end of it. And I have to assume, at first we thought, with the inflation numbers kicking out, they were going to reestablish it on the upside. But now we're starting to realize they're not. They're not establishing it on the upside, they're establishing it on the downside, and they're moving towards the dollar. So it's like the safety run to dollar. Hey, Middle Age, how you doing? Aussie. Sure, let's see what the Aussie's doing. There it is right there. Playing with a daily buy at the moment. And look at that, at the same time we're playing with the weekly sell. Let's go look at it on the fact check. So, what is that? That's line 12. 5 weeks in a buy, 9 days in a sell. So they're doing a little flippy flop on us, aren't they? We're getting a daily buy trying to generate. At the same time, we are doing a little slide into the sell side here. So, again, sometimes you can be long, sometimes you can be short, and sometimes just be neutral. In this case here, it's screaming from the top of its lungs, just be neutral. Now, if we get back into the daily sell, where's this thing going to go? Let's take a look and see. Did we have a range? I don't think we even had an established range. I don't think we were watching it that closely. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. Right there. So it's trying to do the bounce just like we're doing over here on the daily basis. And what else can we say about this product? I guess, I don't know, see, so this is going down against the dollar. So that makes it more valuable, right? Or no, actually it's an Aussie, so it's losing value, that's what it's doing. It's not dollar Aussie, it's Aussie dollar. So, not Aussie, yeah, Australian, yes, Australian. So, and that's what it's doing at the moment here. Maybe it will start to bounce up, but with the weekly showing pressure right here, it's kind of hard to believe. How's that, Middle Age? All right? This inflation thing is gonna freak out the world. We're not at the end of this inflation as much as the Federal Reserve wanted to pretend that this was what they call it, transitory. Yeah, transitory. It'll transit all the way into probably 23 as far as I can tell. So in other words, 2023, maybe then it'll start to act transitory. So for a year and a half of inflation, then we'll start to see the transit. But not now. We don't see that now, that's for sure. Alright, where are we? Oh, let's look at cable. Cable's interesting. That's really starting to perk its head up better than most. Let's go over to cable. Yeah, see right there? It's actually above, oh, not that way, there we are. And it's playing again with that 0.23 that we've talked about and followed. You can see here it's trying to get up. We got the red and a green right there. And when we look at the J4X right here, let's put that in there. Right there. After that long march down, where are we on the fact check? That's 13, right? Yeah, 13. So we're just 2 weeks in a sell and 3 days in a sell. And it looks like it's trying to make its turn right here. And we'll see how they go along with the cable. But at this point in time, this is probably the stronger of all of them. And we watched it flirt around the 0.23 Fibonacci. So, we expected to see it try to break down about the same distance as the 0.38. Go from 2.3 to 3.8, but we're not seeing that. It hasn't done that. And it's gravitating back to the 2.3 again, which is what we thought would be the center line of this whole thing. And it is doing that. We'll see if this gets into the daily buy over the next day and keeps them rolling, heading that way. Excellent, excellent, middle age, excellent. Hey, have you seen the meal? Have you seen meal? Let me see where that's at. In the 60s now. Let me see if we can find it real quick. There it is. Look at March meal. Where's the deck? Let's look at deck meal to start off with. Where's it at? Deck meal. There it is. Look at that. Still riding the calls, aren't you? Yeah, that's hot, heavy, and straight. That's for sure. Anything denominated in dollars can become a currency. It has that characteristic to act like a currency. So, yeah, it's a, it's a combination. Dollar strong and a lack of inventory and meal. We saw the numbers come out overall when it came to soybeans, corn, and wheat. There's a demand out there. I think, and I know we've talked about it here, and Rob and I talk about it, is that basically, I think everybody sold their inventory. They didn't have much of a choice. In other words, they were planning, things looked pretty good. There was $5.50, $6 a bushel of this, and in wheat, and soybeans were $13, $14 at the time, and everybody sold their crops thinking, wow, these are wonderful numbers. And then now there's not much inventory out there to be had. All right. Now let's jump over to the Turkish lira. Let's see what they're doing with that today. Woo! Another all-time high. Take a look at it over on J4X. Woo! Blew that whole thing up, didn't we? There we are. Right there. And we keep on thinking we're seeing a 12.5 when it comes to the euro Turkish lira, but you can see here the dollar Turkish lira is banging away in the 10s now. It's a new all-time high. And our weekly doesn't look too weak, that's for sure. We're pushing this rectangle another week over like that. You can see the strength is in there. There's nowhere to go. And I had a whole new philosophy. Was it on Friday? What was I talking about? I was talking about the idea that the undervaluing of the Turkish lira may be more to basically connect in some way with the ECB than it is, the president / former prime minister trying to devalue for bringing in foreign investors. It may be literally a way of connecting. In other words, losing 90% of the value, I guess it is, something like that. 90% of the value of your currency, 90, not 9. It makes it easier for European Union to deal with Turkey, financially. And as you can see here, same situation on J4X with the line just rocketing up. Now let's jump over to the euro against the Turkish lira. All right. Let's put it up on here. Right there, there we go. Looking forward to seeing what that is. 11.5 now. Wow. Don't ask me why I think it's 12.5 coming, but I just get that feeling. I don't know why. I just do. I don't know what 12.5 means. It just I keep on hearing a voice in the back of my head. 12.5. 12.5. And I'm like, okay. And I guess that's what it's going to do. It'll probably climb way up. And that was the channel that we established for 6 months right there. And turned that into a support, and they're just, just rocketing that thing up, up, and away. I think I'm gonna have a sip of my tea again, since it's a quiet morning. So there's the two looks of the Turkish lira, one against the dollar, the other one against the euro, and obviously, it's holding on and not letting go. Alright, now we'll jump over to Canada from there. And this was a tad of a surprise, especially with the way the metals and energies have been. After we identified, it was really funny in many ways. After we finally identified the results of the election, because it got quiet and we didn't even know anything about it after a while. But once we confirmed that a couple of weeks ago, it seems like it's moving back up again. So whatever hopes and dreams they thought about, better economy, forget about it. I'm not even calculating inflation into that situation. I mean, that could be part of it right there alone. And as you can see here, there's the daily holding up. It is going down today, but still in a buy. And you can see the weekly closed in a weekly last week, and we'll see how long that lasts, in the sense of how much strength there'll be. Or chances are they may go after that 127 area? Yeah, we might end up seeing that 127 revisited again. Let's see, so there's Canadian there. Let's put it up on J4X. There it is. You see the way it's been bouncing, just like our work here. That smoothing by the stochastic really helps a lot. Takes our math. It just makes our math ahead by like 2 or 3 hours ahead of everything. That's all. But they have the same pattern to them, so it takes a little while for the other products or other technical indicators to catch up. All right. Now with the Canadian, when we look at the Canadian, we think, okay, let's check out, gold, let's check out oil and so forth. So let's go see what's going on over there. Nope, not that one. Right there. And there's the gold this morning, trading in the 1862 area. With all this inflation, I don't know how it's not trading at like, $2,000. And you can see that just that straight run has been going on there. Let's switch over to, let's see, where's that? Oh, let's see where it is on Chicago. There it is. Let's get it up on there. There we go. And you see here, there's the, down a little bit. Gold is, did anybody remind them that there's inflation going on? Sometimes you just have to scratch your head at it all. You can see here they're trying to sell it down just a little bit. It's still got a green dot going on. Nothing major. You can see the weekly trend is still there, but just breaking down a little bit. So this might be just profit taking. I guess, in a fleeting world where the metals complex doesn't really seem to be participating with financial reality, it does make you think, well, they just take profits, because they just don't know if the Federal Reserve or, the central banks across the planet are going to pelt the poor product itself. I mean, it's like a guessing game. Each day you just don't know if they're going to hate it or hate it more. They hate it already. The central banks and the Federal Reserve hate the metals complex to begin with. But you don't know on a given day if they're going to get even crazier and love to hate it. And then they slam it, and you see, someone comes in and sells like, 50,000 contracts out of nowhere, and they crush the product. And then how can longs want to step up and take the risk when they know that in the wings are players that have the ability to sell 50, 70, 80,000 future contracts in a minute? That must have so many traders in that complex, you know, in the metals complex, just steering clear altogether, just going, well, that's all right. I think I'll just buy the coins and forget about it. And you can see Robin keeps us abreast of the physical versus the futures. And like in silver, they're trading it literally 30 some odd percent higher in the physical market. 30%, not like 3%, you know, 30%. So in other words, you know, you have silver playing around with the 25, 26 area, and you go to buy the coins, and it's trading at the 36 area and 37 area. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute here. What's wrong with that picture? All right, now let's take a look at the energy complex. That's what we do when we after we get done with the Canadian. There it is right there, light sweet crude from Texas. On the J4X, you can see the pressure is still down on it right there. And let's find it right there. There it is, deck crude. Moving down, we're 3 days in a sell now, not dropping too fast. We did close in a weekly sell there last week. What's curious is we do have the, let me just show you, we have the which contract? We have a client that's following one of these. Let's see which one it is. They're following the June contract. Check that out. That's 2 weeks in a sell. Back month is pressing down. They tried to lift it up. Obviously, one day in that buy and right back down into the sell again right there. And so the pressure is not big, but they're just not buying. You know, it's kind of cruising along, not that aggressive, but they're just slowly nibbling at it here or there, and then they just kind of step away. Awful hard to be short this. I saw a statement on in the options market that somebody bought $250 calls. So in other words, you know, right now the at the money is basically, you know, you can see here the crude oil is trading at 73 in June, 74, 73.48 as you see it. And over in December, you know, it's a little underneath 80. So there's like a contango. What is that? $6 contango, right? So in other words, it's discounted at $6, trading in the 73s. And someone stepped up and bought, I think it's next year calls, you know, like 12 months out, and they bought the $250 options, thinking that this product could go to $250. Wow. Wow. Who knows what Mr. Biden is going to do to us between now and I guess you could say November of 2023. No, I'm sorry. November of 2022. What is Mr. Biden going to do to the markets? Obviously, someone's concerned about the idea of having to exercise $250 oil. Who knows what they have? You know, I mean, you just don't know when they buy something like that if they're putting on some type of volatility spread. You know, they figure they got enough time. It's dirt cheap, and you know, what the hey, you know, buy the 250 call, and if it doubles in price, you know, we've made an incredible win. And you got to figure it's really dirt cheap. 250 strike price, you know, it was probably only trading for like 3 cents or something like that, 6 cents, something really incredibly small. All right, let's see. From here, we jump over to the other currencies. We take a look at the South African Rand. So let's get that up there. Right there. And let's find it over here. It's around here somewhere. There it is right there. Alright, moving down a little bit. You can see here the daily is trying to press down, but we've been in that weekly buy since back in here in the 1460 area, 1450 area. You know, it's gotten up to 15 even, not a big jump, just kind of a slow, steady grind, I guess you could say. Then we jump over to the ruble, right there. Ruble's going on a third day of a buy, and it closed in a weekly buy last week. So I guess there's, maybe that stuff at Belarus and Poland and all that stuff that's going on right now, maybe putting more pressure on that. Let's see, where's that at? Let's find that. Okay, there's ruble there. So let's find ruble over on the J4X. Dollar ruble. There it is, right there, rub. You see the bounce that's going on there too at the same time, just like over here on Chicago Quant, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. All right. From here, we go over to the yen. See what the yen's up to. There's the yen pressing a little bit into the daily sell already. And look at that, the weekly's joining in after all these weeks in a buy. So it's at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full weeks in a buy. And this week they're playing with the sell. Interesting. Yeah, you can see it right there. Put it over on J4X. Right there. And presses up. Indeed. Interesting, eh? It's kind of something. So this is going up. When that's going up, it's usually means that the dollar is strong. In this case here, you can see it's just starting to flirt the reverse direction, especially with that action right there on the daily. And now we have the same identical action going on the weekly. It means that there's pressure building to sell dollars. I guess that's the way it goes. Oh, what's Middle Age say? Could you check this stock out at AG? Doc, my son, he wanted me to ask you. AG, isn't that I think that's a gold stock, right? I think so. Let's check it out. Yeah, I think that's a gold stock. It's like Newmont Mining type of company. A gold producer. Let me just look at that. That sounds familiar. AG. Let's see. Let me just go check. And then we'll put it up on the screen so I can get a better flavor for it. Let's see. Right there. There we go. Let's move that down. And click AG. Move that plate out of the way. There we are. Shift AG. First Majestic Silver Corp. Okay, so it's a yeah, okay, AG, silver, not gold. Okay. And let's find a spot to put it. I guess over here. There's the mouse. Open Sesame. Do the stock. Yeah, it's trading at $13.85. First Majestic Silver Corp. It's a New York Stock Exchange ICE product. And let's see, who do we change now? Okay, so that's interesting. There's the silver one. And let's get rid of that one. AG. We're getting there. AG, not there, so we got to add that symbol. There we are. Okay, cool. Here it comes. All right, let's give you a picture of it. As you can see, it's where did it went into the buy here. Let me get rid of that. And so it went into a buy there. Fell into a sell there. Couldn't take the sell because of that, and then went into a buy again there. So you caught that move again. And then what did it do? It didn't go into a sell there, but it went into a sell right there. Let's steal that buy. And then it went back into a buy right there. Again, it went into a buy there. Then went back into a sell again. It's kind of a little choppy, isn't it? And then sell there for one day, and jumped right back into the buy again. You can't take those shorts anyway. And that's where we are. Oh, I see. And so it's been in the sell now for a couple days here. And you don't want to really sell it because we're in a weekly buy, so that's that. There you go. I'm going to widen that out a little bit so you can see. So what is that, like one? I guess the buy was, let's see, where's it at? Is that right? That was the week it went into the buy. Okay, so there. Or did it go into the buy a week beforehand? No. 8th, no. Right there, no. It wasn't until the 15th of October it went into the buy. So that's like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, going on a 6th week in a buy, and it's climbed from the 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half area to the 14 and a half area. So I hope that helps out. So what did it say about that? Majestic, third quarter financial results, quarterly dividend. He was looking to buy, but I told him I better check your quants. Yeah, I hear you there. Right now it looks like it's trying to set up again for another move on the upside here. And again, I know I must sound like a broken record, repeating myself, but we're playing with this inflation situation, and it really is. It's so hard to believe that. We're looking at like $25 or $26 silver. Why it's not like 39 or 42 is beyond my imagination. I just don't understand it. But I guess that's what happens when the central banks control everything. He was looking. So yeah, it's still in a weekly buy. It seems like it's trying to, build another opportunity to run up. And obviously, if it was in a daily buy. With this weekly buy, you would definitely want to be long it at this point in time. How's that? Did that help out any? I hope so. I think we'll save it. Just save it so we can come back and look at it, see the way it goes. And then here you can see the ETF. There's silver itself. It's trading at a discount, 23.31. And then when we go and look at the futures contract, that's probably the cost of it all. Because there it is. There's the futures contract trading basically $2 higher than the SLV ETF. Whew. I don't know if I can describe it any better. It's just so illogical and just crazy. All right, now let's jump over to see what were we looking at. We were looking at last one, Mexican peso. Let's check out the Mexican peso. And that completes our look at the currencies, unless someone has a particular currency they want to see. And there it is right there. Dollar peso. Let's check it out on J4X. There. And you can see, you know, the peso's kind of making a new range. And today, though, you can see we got this you know, one going into a sell, one going to a buy. We have the daily trying to go into a sell at the moment. We have a weekly trying to get into a buy. You know, there's a bounce back and forth here with the peso. It seems like the peso is playing inside this range now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to let go for a while. So we'll watch and see if it just comes up, hits this, and then drops back down into this area again, and you know, just vacillates all the way to the end of the year. You know, goes sideways chop type of thing. Sideways chop. Indeed, indeed. Okay. So let's minimize that right there. All right. So now, what's the next thing? Let's see. Okay. So that concludes the currencies. Unless someone wants to see something, what we'll do now is we'll jump over to the metal complex and take a little bit more in-depth look at metals and energies. So you can see there's the silver. You know, it is holding up very firmly in this weekly buy and this daily buy. Let's throw it up over here. There's right there. And like I said, it always blows my mind why we don't see like at least 33 or 35. You know, you would think, I think the all-time high in silver now is like 51 or 50 or 50 and a half or 52 or something like that. So you would think that it would at least be 2/3 of the way there. So in other words, you know, you divide 51 by 3, you know, the Fibonacci combination. So you're looking at 17, I guess it's like 17 the first time. Half is 26. We seem to be at the half now as we speak. And then you got to figure 34 would be 2/3. And so you have to sit there and you go, why aren't they running this thing at least up to 34? It's lingering in the 25s, the low 25s. It's like physical reality means nothing now that there's like QE. I think that's the best way to look at that. All right, now let's jump over to, we saw gold, but we'll take a look at it again. And there it is there. It seems like it's trying to pick up a little bit on the gold, trying to get moving. You can see it's off its lows, and we're in the weekly and so forth. And again, let's see, I think the all-time high is in the 21s. So, you know, the fact that it's trading at 18 and a half basically, or 1867, does make you scratch your head on that one. All right, now let's check out copper. I saw some odd action in copper today. So we got the daily. Look at it, all right, yeah, just a little weakness, nothing major. But look at the daily, the weekly. The weekly's leaped onto the downside. So that's something to think about. You know, that's a pretty big push off of a Monday morning. You can see here it took some work to get down there like that, but today was at -10. So where are we at now again? Let's get back over to it right there. -8 maybe, something like that. -6.5. So they may, I don't know, you got a daily buy for, this is going on a third day on the upside, and all of a sudden it's flirting with the weekly sell. It's like, what's that all about? Is that China again? Then let's see what's next over here. Let's take a look at. Let's see, where are we going from here? Oh, let's see. So we've done copper, gold, and silver. Let's take a look at platinum. There we are. Platinum just holding up, not really going anywhere. It's been trapped in this range until just recently. It just finally busted out of it and went up to the $1,100 area. Just seems to be hesitating. Now we're getting into the daily buy, but held on to the weekly buy. And I think last week, at the beginning of the week, I think it was actually flirting with the weekly sell. It's like, does any of that make any sense? No. Do we care anymore? No. Making sense doesn't mean a thing. All we do is follow the quants themselves now. That's You know, Janos and a few of them at Dukascopy have mentioned it over the years now. It's years now, not days, weeks, or months. It's years where you can't trade the fundamentals anymore. They just don't react the way they used to. It's decades now that they don't react correctly, or a decade at least now. All right, so that's the metals complex. Let's go over to the energy and see what crude oil is doing. I know we looked at both the June and the December. We saw that $6 contango. Let's check out natural gas, which I saw another article. You know, natural gas dropped 50% in value in Europe, but still is trading like 3 times greater than it does in the United States. And at one point it went insane. It went up to, the comparison was, went up to like $33 a cubic foot versus the $6.50 a cubic foot we pay here in the States. That's a big jump. So now it's trading half of that in the 17s and 18s, and now there's concern again that things are going to get worse. You know, we got cold weather kicking in, and lots of issues and all that other stuff with the weather and climate, and you got these weather religious people that want to do the total opposite of everything, which is really weird. All right, from there we'll take a look at heating oil, since that is also part of the nature of it all. There's the January heating oil, and it's going for the lows of, like, what was that, a 4-week low, 5-week low? What is that? That's back in October 7th. So we're looking at over a 5-week low. We're making that move into the 230 area, and we're on starting a third week in a sell. So we do hope that everybody doesn't freeze to death, and that there is enough fossil fuels. All right, and we're going to get hit with an Arctic blast here in the States. I guess it's over the next 3 days. So now what we do is we drift over to, so we've done natural gas, heating oil, and the crude oils. Let me just show you the crude again real quick for those that missed it last time. See the same thing pushing down here. And the contango, that's the December contract. Check out the May contract right there. Not May, I'm sorry, June contract. Trading at 73.65. There's a $6 discount. So they think that in 6 months from now, it's going to be lower, not higher. Which is, scratch your head. All right, that's about there. Now let's, we're moving along pretty well here this morning. Let's go check out the stock indices. So there's the Nasdaq 100. Put it up on there. This is referred to as the Tech 100 on Dukascopy, right there. You can see we're climbing into a daily buy. It's been trying for a couple days, and it's still in a weekly buy, so you really can't take too much shorts, and you can only be just like flat. So you didn't get beaten up, and you kept the profits, but you didn't trade the downside, because unless you're doing it through binaries or options itself. But when it comes to the spot itself, you don't want to do it that way. And you can see here now we are climbing into the daily buy. It looks very firm there. I think it was Goldman I was reading. Goldman says that there's something like $7 billion a day going into the markets to the end of the year. So for the next 6 weeks, they have over $7 billion a day that has to go into the market. I guess they have to rebalance their portfolios, and there's so much cash lying around that they have to be invested, or they'll get in trouble with their investors. Alright, now right there, let's take a look at it on an intraday basis, since we got a lot of time here. And we look at it right there. You see we're heading for the highs of the day. It's just pushing up, up, up and away. Let's see what's next over here. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Right there. That's heading for the highs of the day, and it's up 15 points. And let's take a look at the daily. blew something up there. There's the daily. Yeah, that's in a daily buy since Friday. And still in a weekly buy, so the pressure is the upside, not the downside. Take a look at it right here on J4X. Right there. Looks like today could close at all-time highs again. All right. What else we got going on here? That's about it there. Let's jump over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, right above it, like so. Just put another day back. Let's see. Make that a 3. And you can see here it's bouncing up on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And let's take a look at it over on Chicago Quant. I know on Chicago Quant it's been in a daily buy. I'm sorry, no, a weekly buy, so it's not doing too much damage. A little weakness, but there's the 0 line. And it had been in a daily sell from here. It was like Wednesday of last week. And here we are fighting to get into the buy. See, it's above the 0 line there. And that is that with the 3 indices. Should we take a look at that the Brazilian real? Let's see what that's looking like. Oh, I just want to show you this. Here's the intraday of it. Also climbing and climbing and climbing. You see that? That's a, what's that? I call that a 1 Tesla, 369. You see it's just slowly marching ever since it went through the plus here. Alright. Let's just straighten that out again there. And then let's jump over to, where we go here? Let's go to the daily. Yeah, we saw the daily. There it is. Let's give you a view of it. There's the daily. And there it is on J4X. So it's just trying to turn up just like it is right there. And the same thing right there on J4X. Trying to turn up, show some life into this. Life, I mean, we're at all-time highs basically. So I mean, it's got plenty of life in it. And when there is inflation, one of the hedges to inflation is buying stocks because companies can raise prices. So there's a pressure that occurs during inflationary times. It peters out after a while because of earnings, where what happens as a company raises its prices, there'll be a point where people won't pay for it anymore. And I mean, you know, they're not willing to pay the highest price, and competitors come in and try to undercut it. So that's what we're seeing right now is they're starting to buy the stocks, and it's starting to become a slow, steady march because of the inflation. And I understand, I don't really watch a lot of these news programs, but I understand that the leftists in the United States are trying to tell us that it's not that big a deal. It's like there's no problem, don't worry about it. You know, we'll worry about it next year. And that's their attitude about it all. And people kind of are losing their confidence in the in that particular political party because it doesn't make a lot of sense why they say things like that. But they do. They say that on the news. All right. From there. Oh, we want to take a look at the Brazilian real. Let's take a look at that. Right there. And it's been in a sell, but then look at that odd pop we got out of this. And we're in a, so you can't get long, and you've got to be try to play the short side, but it's really sloppy. And here, you see it's just trying to press down a little bit more. Maybe it'll come back down into where it went into the sell. And here, in the 30 area, it's at 30.86 at the moment as we speak. So it's up a little bit, but the math is pointing down. And we've seen this product, you know, fall 25% already. We'll have to see how. I think they're having elections down there, maybe. Maybe that's part of it. But one thing is for sure, and that is that the pressure is on the Brazilian real. And this is representation of the stock market. It's some type of ETF, but I guess it's priced in Brazilian real, which is really hard to get a quote for. I'll take another sip of tea. That felt good. All right. Not much more than there. Anybody see anything they'd like to look at or suggest or something like that? If not, we can go find. Let's see. We've looked at all the energies. We've looked at the currency pairs that we do follow. We've seen that. And say, oh. AR, hey Doc, what's up? AR, how you been? I would like to know about the euro against the dollar. What's your opinion? Yeah, let's take a look at that again. We were kind of a little surprised this morning when it showed just a little pop going on. Let's see if we can find it here for you. That's the dollar Mexican pairs. Let's look right there. There we go. As you can see here. When we were looking at it earlier, it was trying to lift up a little bit. We've been in that weekly sell since the 17-ish area, and it's below the range. You can see the daily is trying to lift. You can see the same thing over on J4X. We're not really comfortable with the product, in the sense of we really think that it wants to go down more than it wants to go up. We keep on thinking that they're going to take it up, but they really don't. It has, it just has that, laissez-faire attitude about it. It just seems like it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So, but yes, thank you. I'm fine too. Cool. I'm glad you are also. It's a Monday morning, everybody's kind of slowly grinding along. But yeah, right now it's in a weekly sell, and it's playing with trying to climb into the buy, but it hasn't gotten there yet. We saw some action like that this morning, which kind of surprised us. And I would say that more than likely there's a good chance that you're going to see a sideways down euro for a while. Also, we're coming into the end of the year, and they actually do strange things. These European central banks and like the Exchequer, they actually settle up contracts like as if they're an investor. So there's gonna be some noise if anything's outstanding. Is that they need to flatten out. So it's kind of weird. They're a central bank. Why they need to flat out, I don't know, but they do, and we see them do that year in and year out, and that's really strange in its own right, because it makes it look. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It makes it look like as if they're not in control. And I think that we as investors would like, and traders and intraday traders and so forth, would like to think that the central banks are in control. That this way at least we can say, okay, that's the problem. Those guys are in control. Yeah, I would say just because we're at look at this, I'm going to scrunch this up. Because we're at the bottom end of the range and deeply underneath it at the moment, it's really starting to make me feel like they can't get it to go. And, they may go challenge. Let's go over to J4X and put a weekly up on that and see what the last time we were in that area. There it is right here. That'll load in a second. There we go. So that's a weekly. And we haven't been down here since when is that? That's let's see, what is that? I'm trying to figure out what the date is on there. November of 2000? Yeah, November of 2000. So, and it came from, that's the wild part, is it came from the, was that May of 2000? Or 219, is that 219 or 2000? Yeah, it looks like I can't tell because of the way it's scrunched up. We'll just have to move it over. But it could go flying down into the 108 area again. It's so hard to believe. But it has that look to it, like it wants to do something like that. You know, it wants to keep on going down. As long as we're in a weekly sell in our math, you sure don't want to be long. That's very clear. You know, that is very clear. And when you have a daily and a weekly working together like that, it's really, really clear. You know, don't be trapped. Don't go bottom. You know, people try to bottom fish, and you know that is sometimes dangerous in the sense that if you're not doing it with good tools, you end up getting your head handed to you. So, the best I can say at the moment is that the pressure is continuous on the downside, and it doesn't look like it's going to bounce. Not at the moment. Even as much as you can see right here on the, let's move it over again. You can see right here on J4X, you know, it's at the bottom end of the range. So, all right, I think that's about it, traders. Unless you have any other questions, we will end this and get ready for the market. So, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy and global trading friends. Ta-ta, traders. Catch you on the flip side.